Good morning from Patch and I. It is Saturday morning and we are heading home from our holiday today, our vacation. So it's been a really beautiful time in this place. It's now a much wetter day. It's very quiet. It's about 8 a.m. Come on, Patch. Come on, buddy. Come on, you can do it. Today I'd like to talk about learning how to meditate no matter what, I guess is a helpful title. So this is about making the time to be able to meditate. And let us begin this lesson with a saying that I really love now. I'm lightly butchering this, but if you don't feel like you have enough time to meditate each day, then you should meditate for an hour and a half. And if you do have enough time, then an hour is fine. I'm kind of getting that the wrong way around, but imagine just seeing the fact that the more you meditate, the more time you have. And I think that's a really beautiful way of reflecting on life, because if you used another term like I don't have enough time to be organized, or I don't have enough time for timekeeping, you start to see the practical value of those tasks. I haven't got time to have a calendar. I'm too busy running between appointments, or I don't have time for a calendar because I'm too busy trying to figure out what I'm doing next. And for me, meditation is like that. That in the days that I meditate, I feel calmer, I feel more connected with my body, my mind feels clearer, and it has an effect throughout the day. So, first of all, how much time do I meditate each day? So I just meditated this morning. It was about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, maybe about 7 minutes. And I'm in an unfamiliar place, so I'm in a holiday house for the week. And pigeons. What I've just done is every morning, after my morning run, so I do get up at 5 a.m. Even when I'm on holiday, sometimes 6 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday, and Monday to Friday I go for a run, and then I come back and do some yoga, gym, and meditation, and then I'll do a little bit more gym after meditation. And when I'm on holiday, I did less, so I just did a run Monday to Friday, and then I just do a little bit of stretching, and then I go into meditation. And then this morning is an example, so maybe this is closer to your life. This morning I had a bath. I got up later, so I set my alarm for later, and I had a bath. And the first thing is I went downstairs, drank some water, did 2 minutes of stretching, and then, as I said, about 5 to 7 minutes meditation. There are other practical tips. So when I'm in my camper van, and although it looks like quite a big van, when there's 3 of you sleeping in it, there's not a lot of space, and you're in very close proximity to other humans, my family, who are very tolerant and understanding. And I feel like that's been a journey too. First of all, perhaps this is a founding principle you'd like to consider, is that the first thing you need to get comfortable with is the fact that you meditate. The fact that it's something you do that's good for you, and that by meditating you're doing something helpful for yourself, for your self-love and self-care. And And perhaps what you'd like to do is make it a non-negotiable self-care aspect of your day. You know, for some people that's coffee. So for some people that's chocolate, or it's you know, something that they do as part of their exercise routine. Whatever it is for you, you can only imagine what I'm doing that Patch leaves behind at the moment. Whatever you do for yourself, why not add meditation to that list? And come on, one big thing for me was finding ways that no matter what, I feel like I can meditate. So yeah, I think some of the hardest situations, and you know, some of my clients have shared similar challenges with their living circumstances, is in a small van, when you're sleeping with a partner as well, and your partner's right next to you. What I do is I set my alarm for the same time. I'd usually get up in the morning, so that would be 5 a.m. Monday to Friday. So for camping on a Saturday morning, for example, which is when I want to meditate, I set my alarm, and maybe I'll have my watch or phone on vibrate, and that'll wake me up. And then what I do is I go off and maybe I get up and go to the toilet, and then I because of my age, and then when I get back to bed, I sit up in bed and I meditate for 5 to 10 minutes, and I go through my meditations, you know, my meditation practice. And for me, I guess I'd maybe describe myself as quite a busy meditator. Like, I always want to be doing something mentally. And so, although I ask my guides, my higher self, and the source of love of this universe for messages, the rest of the time I'm often visualizing you know, different steps within my meditation. And that really works for me. Like, it doesn't require a lot of thought process, but it's a ritual and a ceremony for me that really helps me. But yeah, we can talk about my meditations at the end. So I sit up, I meditate. If one of my family members wakes up and says, "John, what the," insert swear word, what are you doing? Or, you know, sometimes people get a bit scared when you're doing something that is unusual, especially when they're sleeping. I just say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I'm just meditating. I'm almost done." And usually what will happen is they'll kind of, whether it's, you know, one of my kids or my wife or someone in the camper van, will just turn over and go, "Okay." I do, when I'm by myself, like in my music studio or in a quiet place, I will also make the om sound, which I'm sure is very, very funny for others. So I'll be sat there going om. And when I'm doing that, you know, in a camper van, it's not very conducive of a relaxed sleeping environment. So I tend to keep that quiet, and it's quite funny. I just imagine making that sound, and I find that really, really helpful for me, because when I do that, it's almost like you appreciate the opportunities that you do get to make sound, and then you also just, you know, cherish the moment that you do have to meditate. And then as I go through the meditation itself, so we did a previous video this week on some of the challenges that we have, you know, a busy mind. I'll just touch on that briefly. Some of the things I want to acknowledge are that we likely all have some degree of busyness in our minds. You know, our minds can, if left unattended and unloved, can end up kind of like busy fools, you know, in a kind of mental scrolling mentality of going through different thoughts. What about this? What about that? Got to do this, got to do that, you know, pay that bill, meet that person, have that tough conversation, go to that meeting. earn more money, like whatever it is that's going on in your mind. And a really key message, I say to myself in meditation is, I say, John, this is your time, this is your self-care time, and so this is the moment in the day where those things can wait, and that only the important things will come back to me after the meditation, ideally in a priority order. And then analogies like, just like I am at the moment, standing by the side of a busy road, and here comes a car, feeling that thought, rising up, hear the sound of the thought coming, see it, observe it, feel it, and just allow it to pass by. And as a YouTuber and also a musician, I used to get really stressed about background noise. I'd obsess about it. Like, I can't do a vlog there because there's background noise, or, I can't do music there because there's background noise. It's so helpful to say to yourself, look, there's always going to be background noise. And if you think about it, just like that car that turned up during the analogy of, a busy mind, reality is happening for you. And so when you embrace that and say, oh, thank you, and I'm so glad that this reality is happening for me, you realize that all the sounds, whether it's the neighbor's dog barking, whether it's a car revving or outside or beeping its horn, whether it's yourself, whether it's your body making some noises, like they're all happening for a reason. And so when you embrace that, you end up in this situation where you're like, I see, these are all reflections of the inside of me. And when you feel into the reflections, this is how you feel inside of you being reflected outside of you. You start to realize that, so if I spend a little bit of time just making the inside of me, loved and calm and safe, then perhaps the outside of me will reflect that. And it's true, it really does. So yeah, definitely embrace the distractions. Just allow them to flow through you. Don't pretend they're not there, because they are there. Don't pretend they're not distracting. They are distracting, but just allow that to come up and observe the emotion and allow it to flow through you and allow you to then just go back and get on with your job. Sometimes people do a practice of like coming back to their heart or coming back to their breath. If you've really been distracted, maybe you suddenly find yourself 3 minutes into meditation and you've been thinking about how you're going to pay the next bill. Just take a moment, take a breath, and say to yourself, I'm going to work these things out, because I always do. Now is my focus, now is my time for a focus on meditation. And then just take a breath, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then just allow yourself to continue with your meditation. And it's all a practice, right? Like, imagine you were running, and every time you were running and you saw a car, you had to stop because it was so distracting. Would you never run again? Would you never run down the side of roads? I feel like eventually you'd get used to the fact that cars are distracting, and that you can learn to run and kind of see them, observe them, but just allow them to pass you by. And if they really need attention, you'll bring your focus to that after the meditation. So trust yourself. And then finally, at the end of the meditation, like be grateful. I always put my hands together, and I just say thank you very much. I end my meditations with a request of a message from my spirit guides, my higher self and source, and I speak it out loud. And then once I've spoken that message out loud, I put my hands together and I say thank you very much. Thank you for today's messages. And I just focus on the area that I'm sat in, and I say thank you very much. So there are other things you can do if you you don't feel you can wake up 10 minutes early. And I don't want to sound flippant, right, but you do have to make priority decisions, and sometimes 10 minutes sleep is less valuable than 10 minutes meditation, and sometimes it's the other way around, like you've got to decide but find a practice that you can stick to. You know, find, like, I'm a morning person, if you couldn't tell, but I also do some meditation just before sleep, and I do it just as I'm getting to bed. Now I fall asleep super fast, so if I was listening to like a John Binnie meditation, I would just fall asleep immediately. I make it into about the first minute to 2 minutes of meditation, and then I'm asleep. Like, I'm just zapped. I'm just out for the count. Another thing you can do is walking meditations. Now, personally, I find it harder to meditate when I'm walking, but the same visualization and mental practice that I do during meditation, I can also do these when I'm walking. I can even do it when I'm running, and once or twice I've done it when I'm driving, but with, you know, like, I wouldn't recommend that unless you've been practicing perhaps for thousands of times. I have been meditating every day since November 2017. Like, even when I've gone on an airplane, I've taken time. Now, you know, airplanes are fantastic for meditation because you're sat, right? And, you know, even short flights, you often have to close your eyes and just really focus on going to sleep, or relaxing. And some, you know, meditation is fantastic for that. You can also do things like I get like an 8-hour YouTube video for meditation and download it, like binaural beats or you know, deep sleep meditations. Just find something that works for you. And yeah, when you're walking, you know, you can do a lot of mindfulness, right? Like, so you can spend time, you know, looking at the trees and the plants and any nature around you. If there's nothing around you, look at the sky. If you can't see the sky, look at the ground. You know, look at yourself, look at other people. Like, just, there's nature in everything. We just don't always acknowledge it, right? And when you connect with nature, it's a really beautiful experience. You know, like looking at there's droplets of water on the leaves here, thinking, you know, you can ask the tree how it's doing, the plant how it's feeling. Just allow yourself to connect with the environment around you. And you can do the very same meditation practices that I teach while you're walking. So I connect up into the highest frequency of the source of love above, and then down into the core of Mother Earth, and then I create a golden bubble of protective light around my like my whole being, my auric field, my toroidal field. And you know, these steps you can do while you walk. And I often do these even faster when I either feel like it's a good idea, like maybe the environment I'm in isn't super safe, or when I'm being cautious, like if I'm 5 a.m. running in the morning and I'm surrounded by what feels like not the most positive energies or entities, physical or metaphysical, or both, I will, you know, do those 3 steps and just create that protection around me. Like, these are all things that you can do that really help. And then there's other steps, like you can listen to my meditations and others, of course, just before you go to sleep at night. And what I feel is that when you do that, your subconscious takes over and begins to receive, like, almost like a programmed instruction of the meditation itself. I do feel that it does have a beneficial effect. I feel it takes longer to program your subconscious, like maybe a few weeks of doing that, 3-4 weeks or more, maybe a month, just before you go to sleep at night. But it all helps. So finally, yes, go to my website, and there you'll find, so go to johnbinnie.com and you'll find my 14-day Spirit Guide Meditation Challenge. I also have a 7-day Mindfulness Challenge, a 5-day practitioner meditation challenge. And so these are the free meditations to get started with. They are the same meditations I do each day. They are the ones that I've used thousands of times now, over 2,500 times. I know that because I have that many songs and I create songs for meditation. And then what you can do is, just get started on the challenge. Now, when you complete a challenge, it will remove you from the challenge, so you can go back and rejoin it and just repeat as many times as you wish. And as I mentioned earlier in this week, there's something super exciting I am developing. So and you might spot it on my website. I'm not going to announce it or launch it yet, but there's like an early version. You can already sign up for it. It is related to meditations, and it is to be able to help you, spoiler alert, it's to be able to help you continue to develop your meditation practice on an ongoing basis. And to reflect on my journey with meditation, it has definitely been the single most powerful and effective force for change in my life. Everything else, going on astral missions and learning how to channel different guides and learning how to teach other people and all these things that I've achieved, they've all come from meditation. They've all come from a daily meditation. And so if you want to have a happier, healthier life with a calmer mind and an easier approach to dealing with all the chaos and all the bedlam that we face each day in our lives, then I'd recommend you get started. If you don't already have a consistent daily meditation, you're almost always, like 99.99% of the time, you're able to find that space and time to do a meditation. And yeah, I wish you luck with it. Wow, I've got puffy eyes today. Yeah, I wish you luck with your meditation practice. If you have any questions about it, if you have any requests for meditations, I love doing those. I've now put in my calendar a weekly slot for me to create a new meditation each week, and you'll find out more about how I'm offering those. So yeah, it's a really beautiful practice. The meditation, to get started in meditation is free, of course. You can meditate as many times as you want for free. And if you want guidance and support from someone like me, I'll always offer some free services that you could just consume and do it for the rest of your life. Or there'll be more in-depth offerings to help give you a greater level of support and help smooth that journey so that you don't have to go through 2,500 days of meditation like me to reach the stage of all the things I just described. You can do it much faster in maybe weeks or months. So yeah, we're just gonna get ready for returning home and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, sending love.